Hey, it's Mike. It's been a couple of weeks doing another video here. Basically, this is going to be just vinyl finds. Um, Not really finds so much as I seek these out and either found them at the record store brand new because I knew that they were being released, or else they were records that I ordered online. And one of them I got at a concert. So anyway, let's get going. First one, my favorite band, Stereolab. They have a couple of new CD releases. The music is not new, but these releases are new. They've put out a box set of their five Switched On collections, and Switched On is a collection of B-sides and outtakes and all kinds of rarities and such. And they've put out 5 volumes of it. And this right here that I'm holding in my hand is a kind of a sampler of that box set. So the box set has like 8 CDs. This is a sampler of songs from those 8 CDs, just various songs from there. It's got some really great stuff on it, and I thought that was just really kind of a cool little CD to have as a Stereolab collector, so I picked that up. The box set, I'm still working on getting a copy of that, but I don't have that one in my hands yet. So, but anyway, yeah, it's called Little Pieces of Stereolab, a Switched On sampler. So that came in recently. And speaking of Stereolab, I went and saw Laetitia Sadier, who's the lead singer for the band. She played here live in Phoenix. Courtney and I went to go see her at the Rebel Lounge. I'd never been to that venue before, and it was really cool. Very small, intimate place. And I was just right up, we were both right up against the stage. It really wasn't a stage, platform or something that maybe raised her just a little bit above us, but she was just right there. And it was a fantastic show. She was awesome. She did mostly music from her latest album, her latest solo album, and it was kind of a one-woman show. She didn't have any backup band there. It was just her and her guitar and her trombone and her little sampler machine that she worked on for some of the music. Some of the stuff was kind of pre-recorded, backing tracks, that kind of thing. She was fantastic. Her voice sounded wonderful. Very creative show, very interesting. The way she presented the music was just fantastic. I don't know. It was just fantastic. It was just a great show. And she was just right there. It's just really nice to, of course, all the Stereolab shows I've seen have been pretty much where I can like go right up and watch the band up close. And they're not like far off on an elevated stage where you can, barely feel like they're even in the room. They're always usually in small places when I see them. So yeah, so I got to, she hung out after the show, kind of crouched down on the stage and was talking to people. We got in line, and I had already purchased this record, her latest solo venture, and called Rooting for Love. And I brought it with me and had her sign it. So she did. That was very sweet. She asked me what my name was, so she put my name on there. And it says, in case you can't read it there, it says, "Your heart is the leader, Mike. With love, Laetitia." And it says Phoenix, April 2024. I think she wrote a similar message to most of the people there. They just, with a different name, different first name for each person, obviously, but basically the same message. And that was something that she talked about a lot in her show, was about, you know, leading with your heart, that the heart is the most important thing, and love and all this kind of stuff. So she kind of got into a lot of that with the current state of the world. And anyway, so it was really nice for her to sign this for me. So my first autograph from any member of Stereolab. I've taken a selfie with Tim Gain before, but I didn't have anything signed as of yet. So I brought this, and I brought a couple of Stereolab records. And there was a guy next to me, or 2 guys in front of me, and they had this satchel with them, and it was full of records that they wanted her to sign, and they were going through and figuring out which ones, and they pulled out about 5 records for her to sign. And she signed that one. They had the new album of hers, and she signed that one first. And then they started like having her sign some of her older solo stuff and Stereolab stuff. She signed it all, but as she was signing, she kept saying to them, I am not a signing machine. I am not a signing machine. And but she signed it. She signed all their stuff, and they went on. And then I came up, and I had that solo album, and then I had 2 Stereolab records. She signed that one, obviously, her solo album. And then when it got to the Stereolab records, I pulled out. She's like, "I'm not a signing machine," and she handed them back to me. And she's like, I'm not here to sign, records all day." So she wasn't rude about it. She was just, she just had her boundaries or whatever. And I guess the last guys were the last straw for her. So when it got to me, she didn't sign my Stereolab stuff. But that's okay, whatever. She signed that. That was really nice. And but she is not a signing machine, and I can totally, get with that. So that's totally cool. So anyway, her opening act at the show was a woman named, her band name is Sophia Bolt. And at first I thought that was her actual name, Sophia Bolt, but that's just kind of a pseudonym or whatever. And her real name is Amélie Rousseau. She's also French, like Letitia is. And she sings in English and French. And it was just her and her guitar and her little effects pedals. And she performed about 8 or so songs. Again, a one-woman show. And she was selling her new album. She has an original album that's been released, I guess, within the past few years. And I'm going to figure out some way to order that one. It's on her Bandcamp, but it's sold out on Bandcamp, so I got to find a different way to find it. But this new album, she was performing songs from her new album, and the new album hadn't been released yet. It's called Vendredi Minuet. And it comes out next month. But she did have advanced copies with her. She was selling advanced copies. So I went ahead and grabbed one because her music was fantastic. She was awesome. So this is it. This is Sophia Bolt. And this is her new album that's not been released yet. And if you go on Spotify, you can't. I think she has 1 or 2 songs from this on Spotify, but the whole album is not on there yet. And it's available for pre-order on her Bandcamp. And I had her sign it for me. Thanks, Mike. And very nice lady. And the music is awesome. And again, she was just playing guitar with backing tracks or whatever. It was really just guitar, no drums or bass or anything like that. She had looping guitars that she used along to back up her live guitar that she was playing. And but this album is like a full band sound. So it's drums, bass, guitar, everything. And it sounds freaking awesome. It sounds so good. I've listened to it a couple times through already, and it's just great. Highly recommend this. Sophia Bolt, Sofia Bolt. Really awesome stuff. So anyway, next month this album comes out. So check it out. This is the inner sleeve. Looks like so, with pictures, I guess, of the people that worked on the album. And that's her up here. That's what she looks like up there in that picture. And it comes with lyrics and whatnot. And what's really nice, too, is that it comes on this kind of a splattered vinyl, but it's really nice splattered. It's like a clear, but with this smoky black texture. I've seen some records try to pull this off, and it just doesn't. They don't really do it right. I think this is definitely done right. It's kind of paint. It's kind of paint splatter, but it looks kind of like a smoky kind of effect. It looks really awesome. Really did a great job with this. And so anyway, I highly recommend it. It might end up being in one of my top 10 records of the year because it just sounds awesome, and she's great. Very nice person too. Anyway, so that was Sophia Bolt, the opening act for Letitia. This next one. Oh, and so yeah. So anyway, that's it with that, I guess. I'll move on to the next one. Another female artist. I showed this record, I believe, on my last video, Sam Phillips. Not the Sam Phillips that worked with Elvis, but Sam Phillips, the female singer-songwriter. This is her first album that she did as a mainstream artist. She used to do country, gospel, country Christian kind of music, and then she switched over to kind of doing just mainstream pop rock kind of music. and this was the first one, The Indescribable Wow. And when I got this, I found this at a used record store, and that inspired me to go search out her second mainstream album, which is the first one I ever got of hers on CD. And I found it really good price. I had to order it from Sweden, but I got it in. It's on a Virgin American label. And this is Sam Phillips' second album, like I said, called Cruel Inventions. I've had this since the mid-90s, I believe, or yeah, it came out in 92 or 91. This came out in 1991, and I got it right around maybe 92 or so, soon after it came out. And I bought it just as a blind buy. I thought that the picture looked interesting on the cover and on the back cover. I'm like, okay, well, and you can tell the photography was done by Anton Corbijn, who is famous for doing a lot of like Depeche Mode's photography work and stuff. And I just thought I'll try it out, and so I bought the CD. I have the CD here still from when I bought it way back when, and loved it. Absolutely love this album. It has kind of a country-ish kind of feel to it, but it's really kind of alternative rock kind of music with female vocals, but again with just a little bit of a country kind of feel to it. It's really nice. She's out of Fort Worth, and yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, she plays the Chamberlin and guitar, and she sings. And T-Bone Burnett, who was her husband at the time, he also played guitar, Chamberlin on this album. And then also another person, let me look up his name here, Van Dyke Parks, who's a composer, musician. He also played the Chamberlin on this album. And what's funny is that he also, that guy, Van Dyke Parks, also worked with Sophia Bolt on her music too. So I thought that was pretty coincidental. So anyway, let's see. She's from Glendale, California, but I believe she's still based out of like Fort Worth, Texas right now. And she was married to T-Bone Burnett up until 2004, and they've been divorced since then. Elvis Costello plays guitar on this album as well. He does not sing on it, but he does play guitar. And yeah, so this is her sixth album and the second one that's kind of mainstream pop music, pop rock, kind of alternative music. This is The Inner Sleeve. This is an original. I don't believe that this album's been repressed or reissued yet. So again, here's on Virgin American. Songs that I like, songs that I recommend on this, because I've been listening to this album for decades. The very first song, Lying, is excellent. Go Down, the second song is my favorite off of this. Cruel Inventions is like an earworm in my head. Ever since I got this on vinyl, I keep hearing this song in my head, Cruel Inventions. It's awesome. Standing Still, Tripping Over Gravity, every freaking Private Storm, I played that for Courtney. She really loved it. Raised on Promises, that was featured, I believe that was the one that was featured in Ashley Judd's first movie, Ruby in Paradise. There's a couple of Sam Phillips songs on that soundtrack. Hole in Time is great. Again, produced by T-Bone Burnett. Sam Phillips, awesome. Highly recommend her. That's it, I guess, for her. The next one. So there's another band. I've got these old. This is Sam Phillips, and this is her third album. This is the next one that I want to get, Martinis and Bikinis, her third album, her third mainstream album. Really good too. She's got a bunch of albums, but these three are like, to me, my favorites of hers. Let's see. So there's electronic band, Goose Goose. Goose Goose is how it's pronounced. I always thought it was Gus Gus, but it's pronounced Goose Goose. And they're out of Iceland, and they are a electronic band, kind of in the vein of like, I guess like Goldfrapp or Rorik Saap. I've shown you records by them before. Really fantastic, very innovative, very interesting, very creative electronic music. And this particular, I've had this album forever. This is on 4AD Records. I've had this album forever. When did it come out? 1997 this album came out. And I bought it as a blind buy. It was on 4AD Records, so I thought I'll give it a shot and really liked it. There's a female vocalist on this album that sings on this album, and her name is Emiliana Torini. And based on that, I looked up her to see if she's done it, because she only performed on this album by Goose Goose. They've released other albums that I have. This is their second album. This is Normal. She's not on this album or any subsequent album after that. But I really love her voice. And so I looked up her music and found this album, and I bought it on CD, Love in the Time of Science. And fantastic album, front to back. It's just as they say, a banger. It just has, every single song on this album is fantastic. To describe the music style, I would say it's kind of in the vein of like more Chiba and Sneaker Pimps. It's kind of, even like Massive Attack at times. Tricky. It's a trip hop, kind of electronic trip hop kind of music, and her voice is just otherworldly. It's phenomenal. I love her voice. And so I found it. I had this CD forever. This came out in 1999. And I've had that CD since then, and I finally found a affordable copy of this album on vinyl. And this is it. I don't know what label this particular one is on, but it's very sparse in the maybe One Little Indian. I'm not sure what this was originally released on. Anyway, she's out of Iceland. She performed on that Goose Goose album, and then she kind of has been doing solo albums ever since. She's had pretty good success with her later stuff. This album was well received, but it's not really what she's most well known for. She kind of went off and kind of went in more of a folksy, folk pop kind of sound and got away from the trip hop sound. But I really prefer this sound for her, absolutely. This album was produced by Roland Orzabal from Tears for Fears, and he actually wrote a couple of the songs on here. The second and third songs on side one were written by Roland Orzabal of Tears for Fears, and she recorded this in his studio as well. And the production is fantastic. The songwriting is fantastic. Her voice is amazing. It's really creative, really fun album to listen to. Really intense at times, really kind of playful and whimsical at other times. Love this album. Let's see, that's what the back cover looks like. Just the song listing, track listing there. And I could say the songs that I really like, but I really like all of them. But Wednesday's Child and Baby Blue, those are the two songs written by Roland Orzabal. But also Unemployed in Summertime is a fantastic song. Easy is great. Fingertips, Telepathy, Tuna Fish, Summer Breeze, fantastic. Love this album. Emiliana Torini. The inner sleeve, again, doesn't leave you a whole lot, give you a whole lot of information. Liner notes on the back side here. But yeah, no lyrics. And then the label, the record label is pretty sparse. But anyway, Emiliana Torini, fantastic. Love that album. Love in the Time of Science. Next one, flip that over. This one, I've been kind of holding off on getting this album for a while. Siouxsie and the Banshees. This is their, sixth album? Or eighth album, sorry. Their eighth studio album. I came into Siouxsie really on Tinderbox, which is the album before this. I was in high school, 1985, and was just really blown away with Siouxsie and the Banshees. Became an instant favorite band of mine, one of my favorite bands. And went off to college, and this album came out in 1987 while I was freshman, sophomore in college. And my friends and I all hopped in a car and drove down to St. Petersburg and saw her in concert for this tour. Julian Cope opened for her. Great. This is an album full of covers. The entire album is cover songs. She does songs by Sparks and Kraftwerk and Dylan, Billie Holiday, Iggy Pop, The Doors, Julian I'm sorry, John Cale, not Julian Cope, John Cale, Roxy Music, Television. She does covers of all these things. She even does a cover of the Trust in Me song from the Jungle Book, the Disney movie, which was like my first favorite off of this album. But then the song that really grew on me, the cover that she did of The Passenger by Iggy Pop, is one of my favorite, if not my favorite cover songs ever done by anybody. I think she just does a great job of that. So anyway, produced by Mike Hedges, who also produced her Hyena album, which was a couple albums before this. Yeah, 1987, Through the Looking Glass, Susie and the Banshees. And Courtney and I have been watching Absolutely Fabulous, the British comedy show on the BBC show. I have all the DVDs, so we were watching it, and the theme song is "Wheels on Fire," and Susie does a cover of that song on here as well. I played it for Courtney. She's like, "This song's familiar," and then the chorus hit. She's like, "Oh crap, that's Absolutely Fabulous." Anyway, Susie and the Banshees, Through the Looking Glass. Glad to finally have a copy of this. I think I only need one more studio album of hers. And I don't think I want it. Join Hands. I'm not a big fan of that album. I don't think I really want it. But I'm getting Nocturne finally. Her live double album is coming out on Record Store Day. So I'm finally going to get a copy of Nocturne. I have the DVD, but I don't have a CD or a record. This is the inner sleeve artwork, and I guess this is on her own label, Wonderland, and that's the black vinyl. So Susie and the Banshees, glad to finally have that one. Next one, another one that I've been kind of holding out on getting, New Order's Technique. It's their, I should look at this before I start to speak. Their 5th studio album. It's the one that came after Brotherhood and before Republic. This song has never grabbed me, or this album has never grabbed me. I've listened to it a few times, and I just thought after all these years, I need to give it another go. And some people just swear by this album. A lot of New Order fans just absolutely love this album. It's their favorite of New Order's, and I just, to me, it doesn't grab me like Brotherhood or Low Life or Power, Corruption, and Lies. But I'm going to give it another shot, and I went ahead and grabbed a really nice priced new copy of this on Factory Records, a new reissue, and let's give it another go. Why not? The inner sleeve, and little liner notes down there on the bottom, and black vinyl. New Order's Technique. That's from 1989. I remember they came to campus when I was in college. They came to campus, played in the basketball arena. I didn't even know they were there because this is back before internet and stuff. And I heard about the concert after it had happened. I was living in an apartment off campus, and I had no idea that New Order was in town. I definitely would have gone to see them, and Throwing Muses were opening for them, and I absolutely would have gone. Even if I didn't want to see New Order, I would have gone to see Throwing Muses on their Hunk Papa tour. So really sucked that I missed both of those, but what can you do? You can't go back in time. This next one, a reissue campaign's going on right now with the Butthole Surfers. Matador Records is reissuing 6 of their records. They've released 3 so far, and this was the only one of the 3 that I don't already have. This is Rembrandt Pussy Horse, which is their 2nd full-length studio album. I do not have an original or reissue of this at all, so I grabbed it right away. And this is in their catalog. Butthole Surfers are a pretty experimental band, but this is by far their most experimental of their works. It's really out there, and I can't say it's not even close to being one of my favorite of theirs, but there is a song on here called Perry that is just absolute insanity, and I absolutely love that song. It's one of my favorite Butthole Surfers songs. It's madness. It's absolutely bonkers, that song, and I love it. But the rest of the album is kind of hit and miss. I can really take it or leave it. They do a cover of American Woman, the Guess Who song, and a lot of people gravitate to that cover. And I'm not a fan of it. I don't know. It's just weird. A lot of the songs on this album are just weird. They're not And Butthole Surfers are not known for being accessible, but this is like a really, as far as their accessibility, this is about the least accessible to me as far as their studio albums. But still, I had to have it, absolutely. And it's a great price. Matador, thank you for putting these back out. The next one, they're going to put out 3 more. They did Psychic, Powerless, Another Man's Sack. They did this one, and they did the live PCPPEP. And I already had those other 2 originals. Or no, actually, Psychic Powerless, I have a reissue. But the live PCPPEP, I have the original from that I got back in high school. And then the next grouping is going to be, they're going to be putting out Locust Abortion Technician and Hairway to Steven. And I have an original Hairway to Steven already, and I have Locust Abortion, but it's a reissue, and but I'm fine with that. And then they're going to put out PO'd, or PIOUGHD, or however the hell it's spelled. And I don't have a copy of that. I have a CD of it, but I don't have the I don't have it on vinyl, so I'm looking forward to getting that one when it comes out. I guess it's just a delayed release for those next 3, so I guess in the next month or so they'll either announce or they'll put those out. So anyway, Butthole Surfers, go check them, go grab their records now that they're being reissued, because they're usually, Butthole Surfers records are really hard to find, really hard to get. No inner sleeve or artwork or anything, and these are the labels. Again, Matador Records. You can go online and see what records they have, and you can order them on their website. This last one, I was really excited that The Cure released the show, live double vinyl. I think that they had put this out on picture disc before this, like a couple of record store days ago. And I'm really happy that they put it on just regular black vinyl. So I grabbed a copy of this. This was The Cure live during their Wish tour back in, I think, like 92, 93. And that's when this was originally released. I have the CD of that. And then they also, at the same time that they released this was released in September of 93. And then in October of 93, they released another live album, double album, called Paris. So that last one, Show, was recorded in the United States on tour. And then this one was recorded at La Zenith in Paris. And again, it's another double album of live songs from the Wish tour. And I like this one, but I like this collection of songs better, especially side 4. It's got Catch and Charlotte Sometimes, which is one of my favorite Cure songs. It's got Dressing Up, which is off my favorite Cure album, The Top. It's got Close to Me. It also has 100 Years, Shake Dog Shake. It's got some great stuff. Play for Today. I like the song selection on Paris better than the show, but they're both really good. And I had Paris on CD, but now I have it on vinyl finally. So that's really awesome. This one just came out, I guess, a couple weeks ago. These are the inner sleeves. And that's what they look like. Double album, like I said. And yeah, The Cure. Go pick up their live stuff. They sound excellent. They're just really well recorded. They don't sound like crappy bootlegs. They're just really well recorded. I love how The Cure sounds live. I think they're just one of those bands that sound excellent live as well as on their studio out. They sound good on both. Some bands sound better live, some bands sound better in the studio. I think The Cure sounds great on both. So really happy to have that. So we just saw Letitia. We're going to see Slow Dive at the end of the month. And then, God, what else is on my plate? Slow Dive, and then the Rolling Stones, then Adamant, Drag, which is a shoegaze band, a new shoegaze band, Peter Hook, and then I added, at the end, we're seeing Cigarettes After Sex in October. October 8th, we're seeing Cigarettes After Sex again, after seeing them just last year, and we're taking my daughter this time. And then I just got tickets the day before that Cigarettes After Sex show. Sex show. It sounds really dirty, but it's not. The day before that show is Blonde Redhead is coming to the Crescent Ballroom, really small, intimate place to see a band, and I get to see Blonde Redhead. I thought that they were going to skip us this year, but they just added these dates, and I gobbled up tickets, so Courtney and I are going to go see Blonde Redhead. I'm really excited. I've seen them like 3 times, but I'm excited to see them again. And anyway, that's what's going on in my life. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I don't know if you can see, I'm wearing my brand new Violator, Depeche Mode Violator t-shirt, my favorite album of theirs, and I finally pulled the trigger and bought a t-shirt of it. And anyway, I will see you all soon. I think I'm going to do like a artist spotlight kind of video next, because I don't know if I'm going to be buying a whole lot of records. I'm going to so many concerts now. So I'll do like a spotlight, maybe of Curve. I might do a CD box set video. I talked about doing that before and still haven't gotten around to it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like, and love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.